Our amigos at Toy Federation now have their own YouTube channel. Subscribe and join the hunt for the best in yesteryear and today's playful plastics for trade and play. See all the latest inventory before it flies off the shelves, and keep up to date in all the breaking news for the annual Retro Toy Con. Just click the link in the description below and watch Toy Federation today.
Next in line, come on up.
Let's keep things moving, Billy. Hey, no cutting in line, you spotty lip. Oh, howdy there, Scream Freaks. You must have heard the good news too, and know my favorite toy chest of yesteryear and today's playful plastics, Toy Federation, recently landed a motherlode of a unicorn among rarities few collectors even know of. I'm talking, of course, about the infamous My Jason Lives doll. While most youngins were playing with their Freddy balls and yo-yos back when, there was a hot second a few lucky consumers in training got to take home their favorite mama's boy from the grave by the rocks. Designed after Jason's worm food look in Friday the 13th Part 6, you could squeeze creepy crawlies out his eyes, activate a lightning feature, and jump scare your Freddy Cat amigo from 20 yards away with terrifying squirt action. It was destined to be all the rage the Halloween it came out, but a mix-up at the factory accidentally switches voice box out with one from another infamous toy. Instead of the iconic Kia 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 Ma Ma Ma, you get...
Now you are, but what am I?
Needless to say, mamas everywhere were outraged and demanded these abominations be removed from the shelves, making them big-time collectibles weirdos like us gotta have for bragging rights. And thanks to Toy Federation's wheeling and dealing, now's our chance. Only thing better would be running into Jason himself. Mind the elbow room, will you, partner? This line ain't moving any faster. Hold your horses, I've seen you before. I can almost put my finger on it. Jumpin' jack-o'-lanterns, you're Sergeant Bedlam, the Hell Cop.
What an honor, what a road trip for me, personally, to being able to have done Hell Cop.
Name's Dead West, partner, and Highway to Hell is one of my all-time favorite flicks. I even reviewed it the first season of my show you might have heard of, Screaming Soup. You were a total badass, what with you snatching Christy Swanson from Chad Lowe and outracing him through a Mad Max-looking hell to make her the Devil's Bride. How'd you land such a sweet gig?
The short, I got lucky. Christy Swanson was in it, Chad Lowe was in it, Patrick Virgin was in it, and Lita Ford, rock and roll Lita Ford. I don't know if you know a guy named Ben Stiller. I don't know if you've heard of him before. He's in it for about 8 seconds cooking an egg on the concrete outside. His mother and father, of course, were in that scene, and I got an opportunity to meet them and stuff, which is an honor. So you get a chance to work with these professionals. Everybody really enjoyed our time together.
Hellcop's definitely one of the most under-celebrated horror villains. Where'd you draw your influence for playing such a stoic character?
And you know, you're a person in prosthetics. You don't talk. You're just this big blob, so to speak. I think it fell back on some of the Jason because the character was of similarity, massive, no thought process, just animated to go take care of business. I think the cool thing about playing Hellcop was it was going to be new.
Well, no surprise to draw inspiration from such an iconic slasher as Jason. I mean, why else would you be in line for this toy box oddity if you weren't a Friday the 13th fan?
Well, Dead West, let me give you some stories. 3 decades.
Yeah, I gotta know, just how much of a chore was the Hellcop makeup?
It was very tough. I'd be sitting in a chair at 3 a.m. in the morning, 5 hours of makeup, and I'd be falling asleep in the chair. The nose, the lips, everything were glued on. Set calls around 7-ish. By the time you get out, it's sweat, break. I had to miss lunch call every day because everything was glued on. If I started eating sandwiches and stuff, it would come off. So they gave me a straw with milkshakes for my lunching. That's why everything would start falling apart eventually.
Well, lucky for you, you were at the mercy of makeup effects maestro Steve Johnson, who had hits like Ghostbusters and Fright Night under his belt.
Amazing artist. Still out there today kicking some serious butt. But I'll tell you, Dead West, this guy was the best. He worked very diligently, took care of me, made sure I was perfection on the set. And really it shows, I think, when you look at the way everything is carved in my head.
What is all that chicken scratch in your mug anyway?
Everything was kind of from blasphemy. It was this and that. I mean, they did some crazy stuff.
You know, rumor has it one of the markings is Steve's initial along with his ex-wife's, Scream Queen Linnea Quigley.
So they always have a gimmick going on. So there was always a little bit of this and that out there.
Can you tell me what that sweet sidearm of yours is made from?
It was a customized gun, but there was no rhyme or reason to what it was.
And while we're talking about your tools of the trade, you know that toy line based on the Police Academy cartoon sold a pair of cuffs just like yours?
I just did a convention recently, and a fan brought me hands. The handcuffs had made a pair. They look great, by the way, and brought them to me at a show recently and gave them to me.
But even without the weapons, you really sell Hellcop as a powerhouse to be reckoned with.
Actually, it wasn't too bad. Christy was as professional as could be. Physically, I picked her up. by the waist and walked out the door with her. And I had to make sure I had a good grip on her. And the same thing with Chad, when I grabbed Chad to do something. But the most important thing is making sure you don't hurt anybody, because you're picking them up and throwing them around. And they're dependent on you to be very careful with them and be professional, that you don't accidentally hurt somebody. We decided to tear the door off on the Volkswagen. And one of the scenes was, well, what do we do? Well, just take the hinges off. I'll throw it. Everybody was amazed how far that door flew. Your adrenaline's going, you're like pumped up, and all of a sudden you grab that door and you just throw it. It's just kind of natural.
Speaking of cars, you must have felt like you were shooting a Road Warrior movie zipping around the desert in that souped up ride of yours.
Yeah, you know what? It's different because it is, like you said, I think Road Warrior is a good example of it. We did do it through Arizona, Lake Powell, in that general vicinity, so I think that's a good way of putting it together. The way they did it with special effects, of course, they had propane gas come out the sides. I got to do some of the driving, of course, because they were close-ups. Of course, we had stunt drivers for some of the more hairy stuff. But the nice thing about it is the car they put together, I believe, was a Dodge, and they just extended it out like a police car, black and white, put the pipes on the side, and they got the little TV down there when Christy's watching the TV, and Hell Cop is looking at people and shooting his gun. I did probably 90%. Some of the drive-in I did not do when they got really hairy and we're going over the hillsides. But coming out with the fire, that's me, because it's got to be me stepping out. Of course, they put propane all the way around the outside, lit it, and then I stepped through it. But it was no different than Friday the 13th being set on fire.
Still have anything left from your time on Highway to Hell?
I still have a pair of the glasses. I still have some of the posters from the original distribution that never went out, still in the box from Hemdale.
Sorry, folks, but that was the last call. We are officially out of My Jason Lives.
No, are you kidding me? How am I supposed to make bank at the collector's auction now? I mean, complete our collection of shelf fillers. Well, we didn't get Jason like we wanted, but who'd guess we'd be yapping with Hellcop of all places?
I can't believe we're still talking about it. Appreciative to the fans, of course, to you.
Till the next big sale of Toy Federation. See you later, Scream Freaks.
No, you are, but what am I?
Well, howdy there, Scream Freaks. Well, thank you kindly for watching, and help yourself to more servings of Screaming Soup by visiting our site at screamingsoup.com. You can read our weekly updates, character bios, and interviews, catch up on past episodes, browse our store, and drool over the Howlin' Hottie of the Week. If you want to scream at us, just holler at screamingsoup@gmail.com, and don't forget to stalk us through social media, conveniently linked at the top of the site.